Let me tell you something that nobody else will say directly to your face, because in modern society, it is considered an inconvenient truth. That woman who suddenly, as if by the snap of a finger, became interested in serious commitment, marriage, and a quiet family haven after years of focusing on her career, endless travel, or a string of casual relationships, she has indeed changed. There is no doubt about that. But the key question that will determine the quality of your life for the next 30 years is this: has her internal essence, her values, and her capacity to love changed? Or have only her external circumstances and her level of fear about the future changed? This is a fundamental distinction, and if you are unable to distinguish between genuine internal transformation, dictated by the growth of the soul, and strategic repositioning in the relationship market, dictated by necessity, you risk making the most expensive investment mistake of your life. You risk investing your entire self into an asset that will never yield emotional dividends. I am going to take you behind the scenes of what is actually happening in the conscious and subconscious minds of women when they cross the psychological and biological threshold of 35. Why this sudden, almost theatrical pivot toward traditional values is a much more complex and often cynical process than a simple, innocent, "I've matured." And, most importantly, how to protect yourself from the fate of becoming someone's plan B, a backup airfield, carefully disguised as the conscious choice of a lifetime. This is not about judgment. This is not about who is right or wrong. We are not here to cast stones. We are here for pattern recognition. This is a conversation about deep female psychology, harsh biological reality, and social dynamics, so that you can make decisions based on facts and logic, not on emotions, loneliness, or a desire to be a savior. Because right now, we are witnessing a huge demographic wave of women in the 35-plus bracket who are declaring in one voice that they finally figured out what they want. And what they want is a good, reliable, stable, predictable man. That is you. Your task is to understand, were you truly chosen as a personality, as a man who takes her breath away? Or do you simply fit the vacancy of provider and protector perfectly, a position that opened up in her life due to urgency and a lack of other candidates? Let's dive into a detailed breakdown of the 5 factors that change everything. Factor 1. The biological ultimatum and the collapse of the eternal youth illusion. The first and most powerful change is a hard collision with a reality that modern culture not only ignores but actively encourages us to deny. We are talking about fertility, energy, and the relentless passage of time. In her 20 seconds, and even her 30 seconds, it seems to a woman that time is an infinite, renewable resource. The entire media machine, from glossy magazines to TV shows, broadcasts the same sweet idea: focus on yourself. Build a career, get an education, collect experiences in Bali and Paris. Don't rush to tie the knot. You are unique, and the world will wait. Medicine is omnipotent. Life only begins at 40. Social media creates an illusion of eternal youth, where filters erase wrinkles, and success stories of single businesswomen are sold as the only true path. A false sense is created that motherhood, family, and deep attachment are options on a menu that can be activated at any moment, simply by pressing a button when she gets tired of having fun. But when age approaches 35-37, this digital illusion shatters against a biological wall. The quality and quantity of the body's resources for creating new life begin to change, and often irreversibly. This is not someone's private opinion. This is a medical fact that cannot be cancelled by likes on social media. Doctors stop smiling and saying, "You have plenty of time," and start having very different conversations about risks, miscarriage statistics, genetic anomalies, and geriatric pregnancy. A harsh term, but medically accurate. That hurry, that tension you might feel from her when she demands to define the relationship status after only a couple of months of dating. When she talks about strict timelines, about how we aren't getting any younger, about how it's time to stop just dating, you need to understand the true nature of this pressure. This is not necessarily insane passion for you as a man. In her 20 seconds, a girl might date a guy for years simply because she feels good with him, without demanding a ring by the third month. But at 38, she does not have the luxury of time. This pressure is biological anxiety turning into panic. She sees her friend Jessica going through a third IVF cycle, spending tens of thousands of dollars and tons of nerves. She sees her acquaintance Sarah, who ended up alone because she also thought she would make it in time. And at this moment, her priorities reconfigure, not because she suddenly fell in love with the very idea of marriage with you, but because the alternative, remaining alone or without children, becomes frighteningly real. You aren't just being invited to be a partner for love and adventure. You are being recruited. You are being viewed as a partner to solve a vital, crisis-level task that was postponed for years. And if you don't realize this, you might mistake her need for stability and her persistence for admiration of your personality. But as soon as the task is solved, the child is born, the status is achieved, the need for you may vanish, and the love was never there to begin with. Factor 2. The dramatic shift in market position. The second global change that happens closer to 40 concerns how male attention shifts, and this is a blow to the ego that many women are completely unprepared for. In her 20 seconds, an attractive woman lives in a mode of total abundance. Attention, free cocktails, invitations to parties, hundreds of matches on dating apps. This seems like the natural background of life. It seems to her that it will always be this way, that she will always be the one choosing, not the one being chosen, that the line of candidates will never run dry. But by 35, the dynamics of the relationship market change radically. Those men who actively sought her attention 10-15 years ago, charismatic peers, ambitious guys full of energy, bad boys who made her head spin, are now in a completely different status. High-value men aged 35, 45, possessing resources, status, money, and readiness for a family, have the widest choice. And their choice is often dictated by that same evolutionary psychology. Men subconsciously look for fertility, youth, and ease of character, lack of bitter experience. A successful man at 40 will often prefer a 28-year-old girl who looks at him with admiration over a 38-year-old peer who looks at him evaluatively and compares him to her 5 exes. And so our heroine, let's call her Rachel, looks around at 37 and notices a disturbing trend. The phone is silent. The quality and quantity of admirers is dropping. Those bright adventurers she had fun with are either still not ready for commitment and are chasing students, or they are already married. And serious interest in her is now being shown by men whom she previously, in her golden years, contemptuously called boring, average, or even invisible. Let's be honest and model the situation. Imagine, you are a stable man, you have a normal job, a kind heart, you are reliable, you don't play games. You tried to get to know Rachel when she was 29. You wrote her a sincere message. Most likely, you received a polite refusal, were ignored, or put in the friend zone. Why? Because back then, you didn't give her that adrenaline, that drama, and that shine she was looking for. You were too simple. Now she is 38. The world has changed. And suddenly, you become the ideal option. She responds to your messages with enthusiasm. She laughs at your jokes. She tells her friends and you that she values reliability, loyalty, and kindness in men above all else. But ask yourself a tough question. What changed? Did you suddenly become a different person? Did you grow wings? Or did the options she preferred over you all those years simply disappear, and you became the winner in a race where the other participants simply didn't show up to the start line? You became the best choice from what was left. This is a question that will haunt your relationship if you don't answer it honestly. Because if she chose you only due to the lack of better alternatives, this will inevitably lead to hidden, gnawing dissatisfaction. She might be grateful to you for safety and a roof over her head, But gratitude is not desire. Appreciation is not passion. And living with a woman who tolerates you for comfort but doesn't burn for you is a path to the slow extinction of your male self-esteem. Factor 3. The impact of past experience. The third aspect, which is rarely spoken about aloud because it is a taboo, is the influence of extensive past experience on the ability to create deep attachment here and now. There is a myth that experience makes us wiser in love. In practice, if a woman has spent a decade in active dating, in a series of bright but short romances, in attempts to find an unattainable ideal, this forms a destructive thought structure. Psychologists call this the effect of choice overload or the paradox of choice. Imagine that the capacity for emotional attachment is like Scotch tape that has been ripped off and stuck to new people too many times. With each attempt, the adhesion becomes weaker until it simply stops holding. When a person gets used to constantly comparing partners, looking for an upgrade, focusing on flaws, and easily changing people at the first sign of difficulty, swipe left, and here is a new candidate. This skill does not vanish instantly, simply because she decided to get married. By 35, what I call chronic comparison syndrome can develop. It becomes physically and emotionally difficult for her to enjoy the moment and appreciate the real, imperfect person next to her, because idealized ghosts of the past live in her head. She remembers Michael's crazy humor, David's incredible generosity, Steve's amazing physical shape, and intellectual conversations with Alex. No single living person can compete with this Frankenstein assembly of the best qualities of her exes. She tries to assemble a Frankenstein from memories and fit this impossible image onto you, and you will always lose. In such relationships, you will often feel that you are falling short of something. There will be a constant feeling of invisible distance. She might be physically close, cooking dinner, sleeping in the same bed, but emotionally she is somewhere in analysis, in comparison, in thoughts of, what if I had stayed with that guy in 2018? Spontaneity is replaced by pragmatism. Sincerity is replaced by politeness. Instead of a merging of souls, you get a dry partnership agreement where everyone performs their function. You provide resources, she provides presence. You become the convenient director of her life, but access to her genuine admiration is closed to you forever, because that limit was exhausted long before you appeared. Factor 4. The difference between I want to get married and I want to be with you. This is perhaps the most important and subtle distinction that you must learn to feel in your gut. It defines everything. When a girl at a young age, 20-25, not yet burdened by the weight of disappointment and cynicism, decides to build a family, it is often dictated by a pure, naive, but powerful desire to be with this specific person. Marriage itself, the stamp, the mortgage, these are just tools to be together. The goal is you, your smile, your scent, your thoughts. But when a woman after 35 switches to I am ready mode, the motivation can be fundamentally different. Survival mode and social adaptation turn on. She is not necessarily entering into a commitment because you are the man of her dreams without whom she cannot imagine life. She is entering into commitment because she needs structure. She needs safety. She needs the social status of a married woman and mother before the window of opportunity closes. She needs to close the loop for her parents and society. This is a strategic necessity disguised as romance. She needs someone to fill the vacant spot in her life script. Someone who will provide resources and partnership for the lifestyle she wants to lead. In this scenario, you risk becoming not the beloved man, but the solution to a problem. You are the answer to her existential fear of loneliness. You are a tool. And the paradox of human psychology is that over time, this grows into irritation. People often subconsciously resent those they depend on if that dependence is not backed by genuine feeling. It will be unpleasant for her to realize that she depends on you, because it reminds her that she couldn't get the one she truly wanted. This manifests in small things that destroy a man from the inside. In a lack of enthusiasm when meeting, in the fact that intimacy becomes a rare marital duty performed on a schedule and without fire, in the fact that she demands constant confirmation of your utility money, help, repairs, but rarely gives you the feeling that you are desired, interesting, and indispensable as a person. Factor 5. Signs you are the safe landing strip, not the dream pilot. How do you distinguish a sincere reevaluation of values from cold, pragmatic calculation? How do you know if she loves you or your function? Here are 5 specific behavioral patterns that should light up a red warning light in your head. Pattern 1. Sudden and unexplained change in taste. If you are a calm, reliable, introverted guy whom she previously didn't notice at point-blank range, and now she actively initiates communication and praises your calmness, specifically ask yourself, why now? Listen carefully to how she explains it. If she says, I'm tired of drama, I've had my fun, those guys were a mistake, now I understand what's important, it sounds beautiful and flattering. But translate this from woman speak to the language of facts. Often this means the men who gave me emotions and passion aren't suitable for a family or don't want me. So I am willing to sacrifice emotions for the stability that you provide. Are you ready to be the victim of this compromise? Are you ready to know that the passion went to others and you got the domestic routine? Pattern 2. Aggressive forcing of events. Sincere feelings develop organically. Love has its own tempo. It wants to enjoy every stage. First dates, getting to know each other, romance. But if she turns on turbo mode, that's a bad sign. Talks about children on the 3rd date. Hints about moving in together after a month. A rigid demand to delete Tinder and declare exclusivity from the first days. Constant talk that there is no time for nonsense. She creates pressure because time is working against her. She needs to close the deal before you start to doubt, see her flaws, or realize there is no chemistry. If you try to slow down and say, let's get to know each other better, and she reacts with aggression, resentment, or panic, this is not about love. This is about a business plan that is failing. Pattern 3. Theatrical traditionality. Suddenly, after 15 years of career and parties, she begins to demonstrate the qualities of an ideal housewife and wife. She talks about home comfort, supporting her husband, about how she dreams of baking pies. She changes her clothing style to be more modest. But look at her life for the last 10 years. Was this part of her personality? Or was she a hard-driving career woman, a feminist, and a party girl? People can change, but rarely 180 degrees in one season. Often, this is a demo version. It is a performance designed to attract or provide a male who is looking for a traditional wife. As soon as the goal is achieved, ring on the finger, the mask will fall because it is impossible to play a role for a lifetime. And you will see a real person who hates the kitchen and considers doing laundry a humiliation. Pattern 4. Defensive posture regarding the past. A woman who has truly worked through her experience, learned lessons, and is ready for a new stage is open. She has nothing to be ashamed of. She is honest with herself and you. She can calmly say, yes, I made mistakes, I chose the wrong ones, and here is why. But if she hides details, dodges answers, gets angry at simple questions about past relationships, deletes old photos, or accuses you of insecurity, why do you need to know that? It was a long time ago. Are you jealous? Know that she is hiding something. She understands that the truth about her turbulent youth could destroy that image of the ideal innocent bride she is now painstakingly creating for you. She is afraid that if you know the truth, you will stop considering her as a wife. This is information manipulation. Pattern 5. Deficit of energy and enthusiasm. The most subtle but the truest sign, felt on the level of intuition. With past men, you can see this from old photos or stories from mutual friends. She was light, flexible, ready to take off on a hitchhiking trip, ready for madness. Her eyes burned. With you, she is calm but demanding, tired, with a set of rigid rules. I won't go there. I won't do this. I'm used to comfort. The brutal truth is that she gave her best, girlish, flexible energy to those who did not take responsibility for her, to those she loved unconditionally. And you get a middle manager with a long list of requirements and expectations. You get a person who wants to receive care, resources, but who has little strength left to give emotions, warmth, inspiration. Conclusion: your choice, your life, your responsibility. Don't get me wrong, I am not saying that women over 35 do not deserve happiness. I am not saying that it is impossible to build a family with them. Exceptions always exist. There are women who have truly gone through a path of transformation, kept their souls pure, and are ready to love sincerely. But I am saying that the risks in such relationships for you, as a man, are significantly higher, and the dynamics are much more complex and treacherous. Modern culture has for years sold women a false, sweet idea. You can have it all, and, at any time, don't settle for less. This led to many delaying starting a family until a critical point. And now this panic, mixed with disappointment from unfulfilled hopes, becomes your problem. You are being offered the job of cleaning up the consequences of other people's decisions. As a man, you need to keep a cool head. Do not let your loneliness, fear of old age, or desire to be needed cloud your vision. Check the motivation. Look deeper. Make sure she wants to be with you, with your character, your body, your soul, and not just wants to be married, to have a status, a house, and a child. Do not ignore the past. A person's history is the best predictor of their future behavior. If she chose chaos for 15 years, she won't start valuing peace in one day. Take your time. Time is your friend and her enemy. If this is real love, she will withstand the test of time. She will be patient. If it is a survival strategy, the mask will start to slip as soon as you refuse to play by her script of straight to the altar. Listen to your intuition. If you feel that you are being evaluated as a resource, as a wallet, as a function, and not as a beloved man, most likely, that is exactly what is happening. Male intuition in such things is rarely wrong. You deserve a partner who chooses you with enthusiasm, with fire in her eyes, who sees absolute value in you, not just a safe shelter from life's storms. Do not settle for the role of the consolation prize that went to the one who stayed until the end of the party. Build a life with those who are ready to invest in you just as much as you invest in them, with those who are afraid of losing you, not your wallet or their last chance at marriage. If you have already encountered such a situation where a woman suddenly switched to urgent marriage mode, I'm ready now, and changed before your eyes, write your story in the comments. What did it look like? Did you recognize this pattern in time, or did you take the bait? And if this deep breakdown helped you see the situation more clearly, take off the rose-colored glasses and feel confident in your gut feelings. Make sure to subscribe to the channel Psycharia. We speak the truth here that helps men maintain self-respect, resources, and freedom. We are here so you can understand relationship psychology. Take care of yourself